Good evening, hello and welcome to the news today. This is your primetime destination news, newsmakers, talking points, the big talking point. Donald Trump claims he's done a deal with China, hints that India will be next. What's at stake as Trump is ready for a deal, trade deal with India? Also a gang rape in Kolkata Law College. We'll tell you that. And will the Thackeраys reunite? That's the big story breaking in Mumbai. So we've got plenty on the show. First, let's get you the big headlines. US President Donald Trump hints at a very big deal with India after the China pact is sealed. An agreement could take bilateral trade between India and the United States from $190 billion to a massive $500 billion by 2030. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh meets with the Chinese Defense Minister. India stresses on permanent engagement, de-escalation to solve border issues with Beijing. Student gang rape by three men, including allegedly a TMC functionary on the premises of a college in Kolkata. Survivor says she was beaten with hockey sticks. BJP slams Mamta, government TMC assures action, claims all have been arrested. Estranged Thackeray cousins reunite to fight against what they call Hindi imposition in Maharashtra. Both Sena, UBT and MNS announce a joint march in Mumbai on the 5th of July. Karnataka Congress in damage control mode after a minister sensationally hints at a cabinet chief minister and Karnataka Home Minister Parmeshwara's rush to play down rumours of a rift at the top. After RSS General Secretary's call to change the preamble, Rahul Gandhi wades into the constitution debate once again, hits out at RSS BJP, says both want to strip the marginalised of their rights. US Supreme Court limits use of nationwide injunctions. Ruling allows Trump order ending birthright citizenship to take partial effect. It's rapper versus ex-rapper in New York. Artist 50 Cent offers to pay mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani $258,000 and a one-way ticket out of New York for his tax the rich pitch. Monsoon mayhem across India again. Flash floods have claimed 6 lives in Himachal. South Gujarat continues to be battered by rain. Roads and homes are submerged. But the big story that's breaking at the moment, India-United States trade talks have now entered its last lap. The Indian delegation is in the United States for 2-day talks, and the buzz is that next month, early next month, the trade deal could be signed. Donald Trump has now claimed that a trade deal has been done with China, and today went on record to say that a big trade deal with India is on the anvil. Remember, many believe that the deal could come as early as the first week of July. But Donald Trump today hinting that a big deal with India is on the anvil. Remember also Donald Trump had said during the India-Pakistan ceasefire that he had got both sides to agree to it because the trade deal was the carrot he was offering them. Listen in first to what Donald Trump said earlier today.
We just signed with China yesterday, right? Just signed with China. We have everybody. We're not going to make deals with everybody. Some we're just going to send them a letter, say, thank you very much. You're going to pay 25, 35, 45%. That's the easy way to do it. And my people don't want to do it that way. They want to do some of it, but they want to make more deals than I would do. But we're having some great deals. We have one coming up, maybe with India, very big one, where we're going to open up India. In the China deal, we're starting to open up China, things that never really could have happened. And the relationship with every country has been very good.
So what can one expect from this trade deal? Why is it such a big deal? Business Today TV's Karishma Asudani breaks it down for us and tells us what to expect from the latest round of trade talks that are ongoing in the United States.
Now, currently, India's trade officials, along with Chief Negotiator Rajesh Agarwal, is in Washington in order to finalize the contour of the deal for dialogue of over 2 days and to come back with an interim deal with the hope that the deadlock and the minor strain that was existing will not be there further. Washington had a key ask, and this was to get more access into Indian market, especially Indian market opening up for Washington's agriculture products, specifically that related to crops, which could have harmed Indian farmers, and New Delhi has taken a tough stance. Here and there looks like this final meeting could strengthen the deal between both the countries, and a deal could finally be signed before July 9. All of this also coming at a time when the US has announced that a trade deal with China has also been signed after many meetings, especially the ones that were also held in Geneva a few weeks back, which will give comfort to the US and also to the global supply chain when it comes to the rare earth exports. India has had a first mover advantage, and it is only in few days that we learn at what extent will this interim deal be finalized, if this is going to have intricate details on trade aspects, or if this is going to be a broader memorandum in order to just at least escape the 26% tariff.
So let's take those big questions. Will India, US strike this trade deal now? Is that the big carrot that United States has offered India? Which sectors can India open up? What is this deal really going to mean for the Indian economy? What will India get in return if the United States wants greater market access? Is Donald Trump's declaration that he's made today that a big deal is in the offing simply another pressure tactic by a president who's sometimes seen to be more of a deal maker? Joining me now, Meera Shankar, former Indian ambassador to the United States, and Raymond Vickery, author and advisor on US-India relations, the former US Assistant Secretary of Commerce and Trade, so knows a thing or two about trade. Let me come to you there in the United States, Mr. Vickery first. What's the sense you're getting? Is Donald Trump building pressure on India to sign up, saying that I've already done a deal with China, next India? Or do you believe that this will, in its logical course, actually happen as early as July or possibly as late as August?
Well, thanks very much for having me. You know, this is of a piece of the way in which President Trump likes to operate. And that is he destroys international multilateral approaches, the World Trade Organization, before that to general agreements and tariffs and trade, so he can place himself as the great man making a bilateral deal. And then what he does is create a problem which really wasn't there before, at least not in the way in which he made it so acute on April 2nd by announcing these atrocious tariffs across the board. And then he claims to have solved them. I think there will be an announcement of an agreement, but the agreement is going to be like that which was previously signed with the UK and is in the offing for China. And that is really, it's a framework. It addresses a couple of issues, but really is not at all the blockbuster which he says, and is not going to do the things that he talks about bringing manufacturing back to the US and so forth. I think that there'll be some progress, but basically this president looks at trade deficits. And so he'll get something in terms of greater defense purchases, greater oil purchases, claim that that has brought down the trade deficit when it really has nothing to do with tariffs. So I think that's the kind of agreement you're going to see, and that's what you've seen so far with China. Basically, this agreement signed with China is just simply to have a truce on the 145% tariff, which he had announced earlier. So I think we'll see more of the same.
Meera Shankar, you're hearing from Raymond Vickery there saying that there'll be a lot of optics around whatever Donald Trump does, but the reality, the nitty-gritty of a sort of wide-ranging trade deal is unlikely, given the fact that there are a number of sticking points on critical issues, market access being one of them, agriculture products being another. So it could be at best a limited trade deal. It could bring some rationality to tariffs, but it's not really going to be the game changer that Donald Trump made it out to be today when he said a big deal with India is in the offing. Do you agree? Meera Shankar, can you hear me? Okay, that line is frozen. Raymond, go ahead with that. Am I right in saying, to pick what you're saying, that with Donald Trump, it's not about big ticket optics, but a very limited trade deal that he will make a lot of noise about?
Well, I think you've capsulated it very well. You know, Wall Street has already adopted the acronym TACO for Donald Trump in regard to trade and tariffs. And that stands for Trump always chickens out. And what happens is he announces something like he did on April 2nd, which would have been a horrendous tariff on India. And he sees markets go down, and then he backs off, and then he claims victory for it. So I think that is of a piece, and that's what's going to happen here.
Right.
I hope that I'm wrong,
let me-
quite frankly, because I want to see free trade between the United States and India, or at least freer trade. And we could get that if we had a more rational and logical approach to the problem.
Let me bring in Meera Shankar, who we had lost for a moment. Meera Shankar, what's your sense? Raymond Vickery is saying this could be at best a very limited deal. Do you believe a wide-ranging deal is possible with the United States, given that there are several tricky issues, agriculture, market access?
I think the challenge for India is to, ensure that whatever trade deal is worked out with the United States, does not impact adversely sensitive sectors in India, such as agriculture, where we have subsistence farming, which cannot compete with the huge mega corporations which operate in the US. Secondly, that there are some benefits which flow to India beyond just staving off the tariffs which Trump has threatened to impose. See, at the moment, it appears that the US does not have fast-track negotiating authority from the Congress to really reduce tariffs beyond the MFN, which they have offered under the WTO. So I don't know what India is going to get from
So
this
what happens, ma'am, to the tariffs that Trump announced unilaterally in April, then put a pause button on them, saying I'm pausing it to July 9th? You believe that even if there's a trade deal, some of those tariffs will continue and carry forward?
Some will continue, like the tariffs on steel and aluminum, which have already been put in place and raised to 50%. And derivative products made of steel and aluminum have also been imposed the same kind of tariffs, 50%. Similarly, automobiles and automobile components, those tariffs will continue, but the threatened 26% reciprocal tariff will probably be withheld if there is a deal. If talks are progressing well, but no deal, the deal still requires some work to be finished, I am not sure whether the reciprocal tariffs will kick in or be suspended, as some are speculating that all the reciprocal tariffs may be extended for some more time, because deals with the EU, with Vietnam, with Japan are still to be finalized. They have not yet reached a point where they are final. So it could be that he rolls over the temporary suspension for some time.
Do you believe, Raymond Vickery, that's what could happen? That having dramatically announced a slew of tariffs at the start of April, then put a pause button on them. Do you believe that at best, Trump will withhold them as long as the trade negotiations are on track? Or he's separating trade from tariffs? He wants America's trade deficits to reduce with countries like India and China. Tariffs will be used as a weapon.
Well, I think Ambassador Shanker's right. This is not going to be an imposition of great tariffs, or it's not going to be a great opening. President Trump has shown in his track record that when push comes to shove, he backs off in order to be able to claim a victory. To hear him tell it when it finally comes out, whether it's the 9th of July or probably even later than that, it's going to be the sort of damp squib that it has been the case in regard to China and UK so far. So this is all of a piece to try to build a authoritarian approach, not only domestically in the United States, but internationally. I think that there will be some placation of him. NATO meeting recently showed, and before that with the UK, that you deal with President Trump by placation rather than confrontation, and then things go along pretty much as they have. And that's not the way in which the international system ought to run, and it's not the way in which U.S.-India trade relations ought to run, because these are the two great democracies of the world, and trade and economic engagement is very much a part of it. But it's not going to be accomplished by Trump threats and then claiming victory for a problem which he created in the first place.
You know, Meera Shankar, in conclusion, we've seen Donald Trump make these comments about how he stopped the war between India and Pakistan because he made it very clear, he issued an ultimatum: if you don't stop the war, no trade deal. Again, many believe that is Trump simply once again trying to claim credit and be at the center of anything that happens. Do you believe that Trump is holding out a carrot to India? And is it really going to make any significant difference having this trade deal with the United States?
I think it's not a carrot at all. It is the removal of a stick, because there's no significant concession which is being offered to India, as far as I have seen from news reports. Because, MFN is the normal tariff. The 10% baseline tariff will still apply. The steel and aluminum tariffs will still apply. The tariffs on automobiles, automobile components will still apply. And India will reduce tariffs for the United States. So what Trump is seeking is, he's holding out a big stick. Then he says, I won't use the stick if you open up. So that's the essence of the trade negotiation. So I don't see that there's any carrot for India. But what it does is to say, okay, it will stave off trade action that Trump threatens.
Okay. Very, very interesting there. Meera Shankar, Raymond Vickery joining me on that story. With Donald Trump, you've always got to look beyond the headlines and not the one-liners that he tends to throw to his audiences. Thank you both very much for joining me here at the top of the news tonight. Let's turn and stay with Donald Trump for a moment before we come to domestic politics, because again, a twist in the tale. Could there now be a new dawn in US-Iran ties? According to reports coming in from some American newspapers and media channels, President Donald Trump's administration is considering helping Iran access $30 billion to build a civilian energy-producing nuclear program, thereby easing sanctions and releasing billions of dollars in restricted Iranian funds. The discussions mark a massive twist in the diplomatic landscape between the two nations just barely a week after America bombed nuclear sites in Iran. What really happened then? to Iran's nuclear arsenal? I'm going to raise that with the Pentagon official, but first take a look at this report.
Just days after bombing key Iranian nuclear units, the US is considering wide-ranging incentives to bring Iran back to the negotiating table. The American media has reported that Washington could offer Tehran up to $30 billion for a civil nuclear program. The Trump administration could also lift sanctions on Iran that would allow them access to millions of dollars in foreign bank accounts that are currently frozen. The US president at the NATO meet this week had hinted at lifting some curbs that will allow Iran to trade oil.
They just had a war. The war was fought. They fought it bravely. I'm not giving up. They're in the oil business. I mean, I could stop it if I wanted. I could sell China the oil myself. I don't want to do that. They're going to need money to put that country back into shape. We want to see that happen. Would it? No. If they're going to sell oil, they're going to sell oil. We're not taking over the oil. We could have, you know.
The talk about concessions for Iran comes even as world opinion is divided on the impact of American airstrikes on the Fordo nuclear plant. There is speculation on whether Iran had already moved its enriched uranium from the heavily fortified nuclear facility. President Trump, however, has rejected that possibility.
We think we hit them so hard and so fast they didn't get to move. And if you knew about that material, it's very hard and very dangerous to move. We think it's covered with granite, concrete, and steel. Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site, and the site is obliterated.
Meanwhile, the Iranian parliament this week passed a bill suspending cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency. Tehran could now stop IAEA inspectors from entering their nuclear facilities for any verification. Bureau Report, India Today.
So has Donald Trump and the United States really obliterated Iran's nuclear program as they claimed? Well, a few days ago, I spoke to former Pentagon official and security expert Wes Bryant on just how effective the U.S. bombing of the Fordo nuke plant was. Listen in to his insider take. You don't believe Iran's nuclear capability has been obliterated by this 12-day war, that they can revive in a couple of months?
Not at all. And we know, we've seen reports, and it's been corroborated that Iran, moved centrifuges out of their main facility in the days before the strikes. Mm-hmm. Often we underestimate the savviness of our adversaries as America as well. And so there's nothing to say that there's not sites that we don't even know about. Iran has known that we've known about these 3 sites that we struck for years now. Are there other sites? There likely are. Where did they take these centrifuges? We're probably trying to figure that out, but it would be naive and overconfident to say that we know all of this intelligence. And so,
what
these strikes did.
But Wes, the Israeli intelligence seems to have a different picture. They believe that, or their officials are coming on camera to suggest that this war has put Iran's nuclear program back by a couple of years.
Even if it had, which of course is at odds with our intelligence, mm-hmm. But even if it had, what this has done strategically was ensure that Iran, regardless of this regime or the next regime, continues to be an adversary of the West, of the United States, of Israel, really for generations. Mm-hmm. I think with this, with these reckless strikes, with this reckless strike campaign on part of Israel to begin with, and then the really reactionary and I'd say emotional response by the Trump administration to hit these nuclear facilities with no notice. Mm-hmm. I'd say that ensured that Iran feels an immediate threat to their sovereignty, such that they haven't even felt in the past. Mm-hmm. Now we know Iran is as we call it, this axis of terror, mm-hmm. But I believe there's far more strategic methods by which to deal with the Iran problem, and this wasn't one of them. I don't think there was any strategy involved here. I think this was another, grand kind of narcissistic power play on part of Trump. He wants to feel feared. He wants to be respected. He demands admiration, and I think this is another symptom of that. So long-term strategy was just not thought out here.
You're making an interesting point. You're calling it narcissistic power play. There are others who've called this performative diplomacy or performative foreign policy. But are you therefore saying that America could have simply stayed away and allowed Israel and Iran to battle it out with missile strike after missile strike? Was it the Trump administration would claim that it was their action on Sunday that brought an early end to otherwise an escalating conflict?
Yes, I think it's a microcosm, kind of a small example of the same thing we did in World War II, to say that, the nuclear weapons that we dropped suddenly stopped the war, and so that was a great thing. These are all...
Trump actually likened it, by the way, West, to Hiroshima. Trump today likened what was done to Iran's nuclear sites to what happened in 1945 in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Correct, and and he sent out a video really glorifying war crimes, and mocking the Iran regime and the drops against the nuclear facilities. And so, we have this entire culture really that's becoming on par with Israel's military culture, where it becomes no holds barred, disregard for international law. In Israel's case, massive disregard for civilian casualties, which they're already showing in Iran. And again, when we go to war or any conflict against any nation or entity, the civilian populace should never be our adversary. They're not our adversary. In fact, ideally, we want them to support our cause.
So, when we hear reports that the entire Iranian IRGC leadership has been wiped out, Ali Khamenei is in a bunker, the sense that we are being fed is that Iran is on its knees. This war has put Iran on its knees. You're giving a very different call. You actually believe that far from the nuclear power being obliterated, far from Iran being on its knees, this may only stir up even more nationalist sentiment and retain Iran's status as a primary adversary to Israel and the United States?
Yes, I think really, starting with the war on Gaza and arguably before that, we've allowed, as Israel's really closest military partner, we've allowed Israel to become essentially a rogue state in the Middle East, exacerbating the existing conflicts. I think Iran's going to continue to wage very robust and very intelligent proxy warfare for generations to come. They will not have any incentive to join any kind of treaty on nuclear non-proliferation at this point. And in fact, their incentive will probably be to nuclearize, even more so than they possibly were previously.
Well, those are very troubling words from you, Wes Bryant, but for sharing your thoughts so openly and giving us a sense of how we should read this rapidly evolving situation, which remains fluid. I thank you for joining me here on the news today. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's turn to one of our big national stories that's breaking at the moment. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi has now tweeted on the Samvidhan debate, the Constitution. Should the Constitution be amended? Rahul Gandhi has said the mask of the RSS has come off again. The Constitution irks them because it speaks of equality, secularism and justice. RSS BJP doesn't want the Constitution. They want Manusmriti. They aim to strip the marginalized and the poor of their rights and enslave them again. Snatching a powerful weapon like the Constitution from them is their real agenda. RSS should stop dreaming this dream. We will never let them succeed. Every patriotic Indian will defend the Constitution until their last breath. Remember, this is coming against the backdrop of RSS leader Thackeray Hosbale saying that words like socialism and secularism that were brought in the Constitution by Indira Gandhi during the emergency years should be removed. So Rahul Gandhi now once again targeting the RSS, claiming that the RSS fundamentally wants to change the Constitution and replace it with the Manu Smriti. This was the campaign he had launched during the Lok Sabha elections as well. Samvidhan Khatre mein hai. Joining me now is our political editor Maushmi Singh. Maushmi, Rahul Gandhi once again is waiving the constitution and claiming that the RSS wants to change the constitution. What really is the end game here? Does Rahul Gandhi believe that the constitution debate is still one that he can take to the people of the country?
Clearly, Rajdeep, the Congress has been reason to believe with the recent remarks that Thackeray Hosbole made, and it's really got that red constitution book back on the agenda, at least for the Congress party and the other opposition parties. Not so long ago, 2 days back, we were in a press conference where Mr. Kharge, the Congress president, had waived that constitution book, and yet again, with Rahul Gandhi, leading that charge today with his post on X saying that it's the RSS that wants to destroy the idea of India, and every Indian will fight till the last breath to protect the constitution. That really means that in the upcoming monsoon session and political debates now, the Congress will want to bring its most pertinent issue that had become a big political tool for it in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections yet again, and it comes right close on the heels of the Bihar elections.
Right. Okay. Maushmi Singh saying that Rahul Gandhi is determined to make the constitution a political issue once again based on Thackeray Hosbale's comments. Thanks very much for joining us. Remember, it is Thackeray Hosbale, widely considered a potential successor to the post of Sar Sangchalak in the RSS, who called for removing the terms socialist and secular from the constitution's preamble yesterday. The opposition has claimed that the Sangh has never accepted the constitution, and their renewed call is part of a long-standing conspiracy to dismantle Ambedkar's vision. The political tug-of-war over the constitution? Take a look.
RSS General Secretary Thackeray Hosbale has called for a debate on removal of the words socialist and secular from the preamble of the constitution. While speaking at an event to mark the 50th anniversary of the 1975 emergency in Delhi.
हम सब लोगों को मालूम है सेक्युलरिज्म और सोशलिज्म की वो प्रस्तावना में नहीं थे, पहले प्रियम्बल में नहीं थे। उन दो शब्दों को जोड़ा है। प्रियम्बल शाश्वत रूप से है। क्या सोशलिज्म के विचार आइडियोलॉजी के नाते क्या शाश्वत है भारत के लिए?
The BJP endorsed Hosbale's demand.
Any right-thinking citizen will endorse it because everybody knows that this is not the part of the original constitution which was written by Dr. Ambedkar and the rest of the committee. This is not the question of BJP versus non-BJP. It's the question of preserving the democratic values, preserving the constitutional values.
Method of introduction.
And those who are flaunting the constitution book are actually the biggest violators of the constitution.
The Congress hit out at the RSS and the BJP, calling them anti-constitution.
The RSS never accepted this constitution of India and its foundational pillars of social justice, economic justice, political justice, saying that this constitution did not derive inspiration from the ideals of Manu. It was not based on Manu's.
The remarks by the RSS leader assume significance as the BJP and Congress have been accusing each other, attacking the constitution framed by B.R. Ambedkar and other stalwarts of the Constituent Assembly. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi had made Samvidhan Bachao the theme of his campaign during 2014 Lok Sabha elections.
The RSS and the BJP are trying to destroy India's constitution and change India's constitution. The Congress Party and the India Alliance is trying to save the constitution of India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, on the other hand, has time and again described the imposition of emergency by Indira Gandhi in 1975 as one of the darkest chapters in India's democratic history.
कल 25 जून को भारत के लोकतंत्र में जो काला धब्बा लगा था, उसके 50 वर्ष हो रहे हैं। भारत की नई पीढ़ी इस बात को कभी नहीं भूलेगी कि भारत के संविधान को पूरी तरह नकार दिया गया था, लोकतंत्र को पूरी तरह दबोच दिया गया था।
The RSS General Secretary's pitch for removal of terms socialist and secular from the preamble has now sparked off a new political face-off.
The big question is it mere rhetoric, or will the Modi government go ahead and remove these two words from the preamble of the Constitution? This is something that remains to be seen. With video journalist Neeraj Kumar, this is Sunil Bhatt reporting from Jammu for India Today.
Okay, let's turn from there to the other big political story making the headlines today. A political twist only few saw coming. Maharashtra's estranged cousins Uddhav and Raj Thackeray could be reuniting after 2 decades for a common cause: Hindi imposition in primary schools in Maharashtra. Their coming together, many believe, marks a potential turning point before the crucial municipal elections across that state. Could this new alliance actually work? And will the warring cousins really come together? Take a look at this report.
What was once thought of as unthinkable may now be happening again. Once allies, then rivals, now set to reunite. Uddhav Thackeray and Raj Thackeray seated together, fighting for the Marathi Manas. Bala Sahib Thackeray's long-cherished dream is finally coming true. For the first time in 2 decades, the Thackeray cousins are set to join forces for a common cause. Opposing the Maharashtra government's decision to implement Hindi from class 1 to 5 under the National Education Policy's 3-language formula. The Thackeray's are calling it an imposition on regional identity and linguistic diversity.
Today we have decided to have a protest against the imposition of Hindi, and for this very purpose we requested all political parties and everyone, each and every Marathi Manus to participate in the protest, and we got a positive response from everyone. So this will be a historic protest on 5th July, and it will be a remembrance of 1960 Sanyukta Maharashtra Chaywa.
The former Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has also slammed the government for imposing language emergency, alleging that this move is an attempt to erase Marathiness.
हिंदीची सक्ती नसावी आणि आपण पाहतोय जे महाराष्ट्रात तोडू फोडू आणि राजकारण करू हे जी भाजपचं धोरण आहे त्याच्या विरोधात आम्ही सगळेच एकत्र येतोय. शिवसेना उद्धव बाळासाहेब ठाकरे पक्ष असेल, मनसे असेल, आम्ही सगळे एकत्र येऊन रस्त्यावर लढू. महाविकास आघाडीतले असतील किंबहुना भाजपमध्ये देखील जर मराठी प्रेमी कोणी असेल आणि जर लाज उरली असेल तर त्यांनी यावं.
The duo, which earlier planned to hold separate rallies over the same issue, will now hold a joint protest march on July 5th. Their protest march will also be backed by Sharad Pawar's NCP faction. The BJP, on the other hand, claims that the Thackeray's are using this protest to save their political identities.
के चुनाव परिणाम के बाद में बौखला गए हैं, तो मैं उसके ऊपर कुछ बोलना नहीं चाहता हूं. पॉलिटिकल अस्तित्व वो उनके सामने एक चिंता है, तो उन्होंने उस दृष्टि से जिंदा रहने के लिए उनको जो योग्य लगता है करें.
Can this unexpected alliance change the course of Maharashtra politics? Will the combined Thackeray star power be greater than the sum of their parts? And is this the first step towards truly realizing Bala Sahib's vision for his family? Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let me go straight across to our Mumbai editor, Sahil Joshi. Join me, Sahil. What's the sense you're picking up? Could we now be seeing the first hint of a political alliance ahead of the municipal election that could take place as early as September? The two Thackeray's coming together. Is that a real possibility now, Sahil?
Well, it clearly looks like that at this point of time, because what is happening on 5th of July was also kind of unthinkable. Both the Thackeray's had never since the time Raj Thackeray had parted ways with the Shiv Sena, with his uncle and brother Uddhav Thackeray. They had never come together on one stage for any political event. They have come together for family functions or maybe some non-political events, but never come together for a cause or for a particular issue which might be a burning political issue. This is a time when we can see that they are coming together. They are ready to adjust with each other. They have spoken to each other. That is also quite important. And they can also see that at this point of time, to retain the Thackeray brand, whoever retains it, but to retain the Thackeray brand is going to be very important, because it has really taken a hit when Eknath Shinde has taken over the party and party name and the symbol. Both the brothers realize that this is a time that they need to come together. But whether for all practical reasons, seat sharing or many other things, will they be able to transfer it into a political alliance or not? That is yet to be seen. But I can clearly see that this is the first step towards that. And few more months, we'll get to know whether they are actually coming together or not.
Well, in Maharashtra, never say never. You've seen Congress coming together with the Shiv Sena in the past. The Pawars have split apart, fought each other. Now, who knows? There could be a Ghar Wapsi and the Thackerays could come together. Sahil Joshi, for joining me there from Mumbai and hinting that that alliance could actually take place. Very interesting. Let's turn from there to our other top story. Another alleged rape horror has shocked Kolkata a year after the RG car rape case. The alleged gang rape this time took place inside a South Calcutta Law College premises. 3 people, including a former student turned staffer and the 2 current students, allegedly raped the survivor inside the guard room on the state government-run college premises. One of them is supposed to be a Trinamool Congress activist, student activist, which has put the Mamata Banerjee government on the back foot once again. Take a look at this report.
Even as the scars of the RG Kaur Medical College rape murder case still haunts the nation, another horror stuns West Bengal. This time an alleged gang rape inside a state-run law college in South Kolkata. The 3 accused, including a college staffer and 2 current students, are arrested. The court has granted police their custody till July 1st. According to the FIR filed based on a complaint by the survivor, the main accused proposed marriage to her. The survivor, a student of the college, refused, saying she had a boyfriend. She was allegedly locked, threatened, and raped. The survivor, demanding justice, describes her harrowing ordeal. She had a panic attack after the sexual assault and pleaded for help. But the main gate was locked, and she was allegedly assaulted in the guard room. The accused allegedly recorded her video, threatened to leak it and hurt her family. She was even attacked with hockey sticks. One of the accused, Manojit Mishra, is a TMC student wing leader and is a contractual staff at the college. TMC highlighted that police have arrested all accused and appealed that the incident should not be politicized.
আমরা এটাই বলি যে মেয়েটি ন্যায্য বিচার পাক। আমরা একজন নাগরিক হিসেবেও একজন এই সমাজে থাকি, এই দেশে থাকি, আমরা কিন্তু পুরোপুরি তার সঙ্গে রয়েছি। সে বলুক, তার পাশে আমরা রয়েছি। এইটা চলতে পারে না, এটা হতে পারে না, এবং এটাই তো আমরা আমাদের পার্টির পক্ষ থেকে বলা।
As protest for justice gathers steam, TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee has shockingly shifted the onus from police to the victim.
মহিলাদের লড়াইটা কাদের বিরুদ্ধে? যারা এই পারভার্টেড টাইপের পুরুষ, তাদের বিরুদ্ধে লড়াই করা উচিত। কলেজের ভেতরে যদি করে, সেখানে পুলিশ থাকবে কলেজে? শিক্ষা ক্ষেত্র তো আরে ভাই, শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠানে কি পুলিশ থাকবে? আপনি বলুন না। যে যারা ঘুরছে, যাদের সঙ্গে ঘুরছে, তাদেরও ঠিক করা উচিত কাদের সঙ্গে ঘুরছে, কাদের সঙ্গে ঘুরছে না।
The BJP slammed Mamata Banerjee's government, calling Bengal a nightmare for women.
বেপরোয়া হয়েছে এর জন্য পুলিশ দায়ী মনোজ বার্মা বিনীত গোয়েল রাজীব কুমার দেখুন কি করছে গিয়ে ওখানে কলকাতা পুলিশকে তো পুরো নিয়ে চলে গেছে এই রাজ্যের মুখ্যমন্ত্রী চেয়ারে থাকার যোগ্যতা নেই আমরা ইস্যু টেক আপ করছি এবং খুব বড় জিনিস হবে
And in less than a year, once again, a similar crime, a rape, has taken place inside a government-run educational campus in the city, prompting not just the opposition, but many in the city of Kolkata to ask the Mamata Banerjee government, how is it that criminals are roaming free and they can indulge in such crime with such impunity? With camera person Orgo Ghosh and Anupam Mishra and Rajesh Saha in Kolkata, Indrajit for India Today.
If the Trinamool Congress government in Bengal is on the back foot on that alleged gang rape, in Goa, it's the ruling BJP that finds itself in a bit of a pickle. A Goa BJP leader and a cabinet minister, Govind Gowde, was ousted from the cabinet earlier this week after he made a series of allegations of corruption against the government of Chief Minister Pramod Sawant and Sawant's leadership in particular. But what really happened in this Govind Gowde case? And is Goa now becoming a state where the BJP finds itself split wide open? Take a look at this report.
In politics, dissent within ranks often comes at a price. And in Goa, the price of speaking out turns to have been a cabinet seat. On May 25, BJP Minister Govind Gowde publicly accused the Tribal Welfare Department of misusing public funds, delaying housing projects for tribal communities, and bypassing norms in file clearances. The twist? The Tribal Welfare Department is directly handled by Chief Minister Pramod Sawant. Barely 3 weeks later, on June 18, Gowde was dropped from the Goa cabinet. The Chief Minister insists the decision to sack Gowde was his own. But now, Gowde has dropped a fresh bombshell, claiming he was asked to resign on instructions from BJP National President JP Nadda. Gowde is doubling down on his attack, now writing to President Murmu, Prime Minister Modi and the rest of the BJP top brass to highlight his case. A rebellion that is fast becoming a headache for the state BJP unit and a useful stick for the opposition to beat the government with.
जो देरेप्यांत काढला तो कित्या खातीर काढला तो सरकारान सांगो म्हणसर सरकारान ताका काडल्याचे फाटल्यान कितें कारणां आसूंक शकता हाजे लोक जायते निश्कर्श घेतले जेन्ना आमी ताजेर हायकोर्टान गेल्ले आशिल्ले तेन्ना सरकारान ताका पूर्णपणान तेंको दिलो आनी जेन्ना तो उलोवपाक लागलो करप्शनाचेर सरकारान तेन्ना ताका काडलो हाजो अर्थ कितें जाता की BJP करप्शनाचेर अगेन्स्ट जर उलयलो जाल्यार तुका काडटा करप्शन केलें जाल्यार तुका प्रोटेक्ट करता ही जी इमेज आमचे गोंयचे सरकाराची जाल्या.
But the episode raises a larger question for the BJP. Is Gowde's rebellion symptomatic of a larger discontent simmer against the Goa Chief Minister? Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's turn to tonight's Get Real India story. A huge controversy has erupted in UP's Etawah, where two Kathavachaks or storytellers were allegedly targeted by a group of upper castes. They're crying. They were accused of hiding their real identity. The police have arrested 4 suspects in the case. The incident, which is becoming a political flashpoint in the state, only tells us how deep caste divides are still in our society. Take a look at Get Real India.
A viral video from Etawah has exposed the caste divide that still exists in the society. In an incident that took place on June 21st, people allegedly belonging to upper caste cut the hair of 2 Kathavachaks or storytellers who had gone to Dadarpur village to recite the Bhagavata. The reason? The Kathawachaks were Yadavs, who are OBCs.
उन्होंने मुझे बंदी बना लिया, मारा भी है हमको लात घूसों से, और उसके बाद उन्होंने पैर छुपाए। उसके बाद जब पैसा ले लिए, जंजीर ले ली, उसके बाद उन्होंने जो है चोटी हमारी काटी। पहले हमारे आचार्य जी की काटी, फिर हमारी चोटी काटी और बजरंगबली के जयकारे लगाए, उसके बाद हमको वहां से निकाल दिया।
तुम्हारी हिम्मत कैसे पड़ गई कि ब्राह्मणों के गांव में आए? ब्राह्मणों के गांव में तुम गद्दी पे बैठे हो, यादव होकर के यहाँ भागवत कहने आए हो, और इन्होंने बहुत हमें मारकूट करना शुरू कर दिया। रात भर इन्होंने बहुत टॉर्चर किया सर, यहाँ तक कि हमारे बाल काट दे। और जो परीक्षित बना था, परीक्षित की मैडम से इन्होंने मूत्र बोले, भाभी आप अपना मूत्र ले आओ, उसे मूत्र से हमारे ऊपर छिड़का इन्होंने, बोले ये अपवित्र हो गए।
The police swung into action and arrested 4 suspects.
जो पीड़ित व्यक्ति हैं, एक क्या आपको 3 की संख्या आ रही है, जिनके साथ अभद्र व्यवहार किया गया और उनकी इच्छा के विरुद्ध उनका केस काटा गया। इस संबंध में अभी तहरीर हमें तुरंत मिली हुई है, इस पर तत्काल मुकदमा पंजीकृत करा रहे हैं। ये बता रहे हैं कि 750 रुपए भी लिए गए हैं। तो जो भी चीजें हैं विवेचना से इसमें निष्पक्ष कार्रवाई होगी और कड़ी कार्रवाई।
The stage set for the storytelling session still remains in Dadarpur. The organizers claim the Kathawachaks claimed to be upper caste and produced fake documents like Aadhaar cards. While the villagers disapprove of the assault, they demand action against the Kathawachaks too.
हमने जालौन जिला में सुना कि 4 जगह, हमने 3 जगह कथा जालौन जिला में कराई। अग्नोत्री बता के उन्होंने हमको आधार कार्ड दिखाया और उस आधार कार्ड के अधीन हम यहाँ उनको ले आए।
काश अगर वो पहले ही ये चीज बता देते कि हम यादव समाज से हैं, तो ये सारी शायद कोई मतलब बातचीत ही नहीं होती। जिस कारण का जो माहौल पैदा हुआ, वो उसकी वजह कहीं ना कहीं वो उनकी जात छुपानी हो गई। यहाँ तक कि जो ये भागवत छठी है, कहीं ना कहीं वो भी गलत है। मतलब इतना बड़ा दुर्भाग्य है इस गांव का कि आज हम लोग जिस माहौल पे और जिस समस्या में खड़े हैं, वो कहीं ना कहीं हम सबके लिए वो जो हुआ बहुत गलत हुआ है।
The Kathawachaks and their families reject the charge. They allege that the organizers targeted them, accusing them of being Dalits.
उन लोगों ने पूजा उजा करवा लिए, सब कुछ करवा चुके। एक पाठ मतलब रामायण हो चुकी थी, उसके बाद खाना खिलाने के बुलाए घर पे। फिर उन लोगों ने पूछने लगे कि तुम जात बताओ, अपना जात क्या है। उस वहीं पर उन लोग मारने पीटने लगे, मार पीट के पैसा भी छीन लिए। हमें न्याय चाहिए। जितनी की उन लोगों को मारपीट किया और 25,000 रुपये जुर्माना भी भर लिया। एक अंगूठी मेरे पापा की और चैन उन्होंने ले लिया। वो लोग बता रहे कि लेकिन मेरे पापा यादव हैं।
The incident is fast taking political colors. Yadav groups have rallied behind the Kathawachaks, who claim they have been telling stories for years. While the police are investigating the chain of events, one big truth is that ugly divisions based on caste exist even today. Bureau Report, India Today.
Unacceptable darker side of this country. Let's turn to an India Today fact check now. The claim being made online, video showing Israeli police removing Indians from a bomb shelter in the Israel-Iran conflict. Actually, the fact is the video is from anti-government protests in Israel on May 28. It has absolutely no relation to the Iran-Israel conflict. Okay, just about enough time to leave you tonight with our image of the day. Today is the day when the Jagannath Rath Yatra takes place. Devotees gathered at Puri's Jagannath temple for Lord Jagannath's Rath Yatras. The yatra began with the 3 sibling deities, Lord Jagannath, Balbhadra and Goddess Subhadra. On the other hand, we also have seen the first ever Rath Yatra now at the new Lord Jagannath temple being held, which was held in West Bengal's Digha today. So there you have, in a way, competitive Rath Yatras. The original one was in Puri, the new one in Digha. Both have attracted thousands of devotees. Jai Jagannath is what I leave you with. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubh Ratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.